we got an update on the Diddy situation, as the whole world knows by now. You know, he beat 3 out of the 5 charges. He's only facing the MANN Act, no mandatory minimum, maximum of 10 years. The prosecution is seeking 4 years. But there's no guideline for the MANN Act on the tricking end to really for the judge to run on. So the judge has asked the prosecution and the defense to find cases where, you know, there's some type of precedent for this, right? And that's what kind of got people on the fence that Diddy might be home or whatever in 12 to 22 months. You know what I mean? But let's get into it. This is a TMZ clip or whatever, and shocking, something shocking. We'll see.
Welcome to TMZ Live. I'll be letting Charles here. So we got some information. We broke this story a couple hours ago. Diddy is behind bars, but he is enrolled in 2 classes in jail. A class for drug abuse and one for domestic violence.
Domestic violence. These are programs that are offered by the federal government in the prison system for inmates, and he is enrolled in both of these programs. He's also, we're told, in therapy separate from those 2 programs. And all of these.
So, federal program for drugs and violence. I'm thinking ASAP for sure. Because ASAP is how the state prison be getting their federal money or whatever. Because anytime that you have a drug charge, you go into the state. Even there, you're in there for selling drugs and not using. They will put your ass in ASAP. You gotta do 6 months. And, you know, sit in a circle and share and do all the little assignments, watch the little videos, all that. And ART, I want to say like anger resistance training or something like that, because that was, I believe that's a federal system, a federal program as well, that state facilities offer in order to get, you know, more funding from the feds. So, yeah, Diddy program.
These things that he's doing, typically for one reason, to look good for the judge.
Well, it's important because sentencing comes up October 3rd. And Diddy, look, everything that I know tells me that he will get between 1 and 2 years. And I think it's going to be closer to 1. Prosecution is asking for 4. That's just not going to happen for a MANN Act violation. So if that's right, look, he wants to get the lowest he can get, and I think it's going to be between that 1 and 2 range. To get the 1, I think he's got to show the judge that he is taking his misdeeds seriously.
Right. And by the way, we know that even when the judge said that.
Well, here's the whole crazy shit, though. Diddy didn't even get found guilty of domestic violence and drugs and all of that. Just the MANN Act, just the transporting or whatever, trying to get into the sex work. I didn't know you were a sex worker. But I mean, I guess it's like, you can look at it as, even though I'm not found guilty of those charges or whatever, I understand, you know, that I have a problem, and even though I'm not found guilty of it, I'm still trying to fix, you know, the overall problem, you know, that I can't. And I mean, you ain't got to worry about ordering no hookers or nothing like that or whatever in jail. Unless you a chopper with somebody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he be a chopper of Astro Glide, but he ain't got that kind of pull.
He was not going to let him out on bail pending sentencing. One of the things he mentioned was his violence. You know, we've seen his violence.
Exactly.
So he knows that this is an issue for the judge.
And the defense conceded it.
Right. So that's something he definitely has to address. and that's what he's doing with this program.
You know, Charles, he doesn't have to address it, but he is addressing it, and you know, this might help him with regards to his sentence. Maybe the judge might sentence him to lesser time because he's working on himself.
But Jamie, you know what the complication here is that he's been found not guilty on the charges that relate to drug use and domestic violence. That there was no conviction using force, fraud, or coercion in these three ways, and drugs. The Cassie video was off the table. The only thing he's been convicted of is taking a prostitute across state lines for the purpose of prostitution.
But can't the judge consider all of the testimony in the that was presented at the trial?
But the defense is going to say he was found not guilty on those things. So it's really kind of
like, you can take all of that into consideration, but he still has to sentence him within the guidelines of what that charge carries. So, I mean, you can take all of that shit into consideration or whatever. The jury took it into consideration and came back with a not guilty verdict. So now, whatever, it's like, if the judge is going to sit here and take it upon himself and do whatever he heard against Diddy after he's been, you know, those incidents weren't even enough to get a conviction by the jury. Yeah, all of that's out the door, whatever. We'll just focus on the Mann Act. Really?
kind of an interesting.
There's that, but there's another side of this. And Jamie, you've been working on this story for 5 days now to lock this down. But what was there was one key word, one of the sources you spoke to. You remember what that word was? Yeah,
redemption.
Yeah, because that's the other part of this. Yeah. That this is Diddy looking at my life after prison, because now that he knows he's not going to be locked away for decades, not going to be locked away for the rest of his life.
If he could get out this year with time served.
Wants to be able to do business. And in order to do that, for people to work with him, even in the entertainment field, he's got to show that he's changing, or he's addressing the things that everyone saw come out in this trial. Right. So this is about, this is also about, what is my life after prison, and how can I still be a successful businessman?
And you know, it's interesting because we've talked about this before, that lawyers who represent people in positions like Diddy.
That's like some interesting shit, because all the time we're thinking about this nigga being gone for, you know, potentially decades and all of that shit. And now we know it's gonna be a matter of months or maybe just a couple of years. He won't even do the full couple of years. He's already been in damn near a year as is. You know what I mean? So, the real question is, who's gonna be the first person who ever to work with Diddy? I would say the first person to actually show up in court and support Diddy. That nigga Kanye West. You know what I mean? But let's keep going into this. I like Diddy's next album.
Now, they have two responsibilities. You know, get them acquitted if you can, and what is their life going to look like after they get out? Right. And so there are two components, and this kind of serves both of those. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Alicia, and I am from New Jersey. And I actually think it's a positive thing that Diddy is taking this step towards redemption and going to therapy. And I really feel that everybody is worthy of that, but he really has to show it. And I mean, I hope that he is taking this seriously, because I think the public is having a hard time processing and really believing that he's really going to change in probably this short amount of time. So I really hope that he says what he's going to do. And I think that the rest of the public can agree that it's going to be difficult trying to understand what accountability and redemption look like in this case.
Yeah, well, we will see, but
it's going to be very complicated.
Again, it's possible he's going to get out by Thanksgiving.
I don't
Diddy gonna be out in time for the turkey and the baked macaroni and cheese and collard greens? Well, hopefully they don't start using cooking oil like the Frico instead of baby oil. I don't know. But yeah, end of the year, I mean, that would put him. Thanksgiving would put him over there. I think he got grabbed in September of last year. So yeah, like, I mean, that would be like, so if he gets a year or 2 years or something or whatever along those lines, because they do it in months. I mean, they could say 20 months, and I think you get 2 months or something like that or whatever, like off of every year. And in the Feds, I think, for good time, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I don't know, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But he damn sure ain't going away. He ain't doing no 5 years or nothing like that. I doubt that this will get over to. So I agree with Harvey. It's gonna be between 1 and 2 years. We'll see Diddy on the streets or whatever in 2026.
I've heard you say that. I gotta disagree. There's just,
Well, I'll tell you why. If he gets a year, which is possible, he will have served close to a year. Plus, he gets certain credits. So I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm saying it's possible.
The judge
is going to give him
when
a
the
year.
prosecutors are asking for 4, and I agree with you that it's not going to be that.
Let me tell you why.
But if the judge were to give him a sentence that lets him walk out before the end of the year,
Let me tell you why. Because the judge asked prosecutors, give me a case. So this is what the back and forth now. Give me a case where a John was prosecuted under the Mann Act for this. It's usually the prostitute.
Right.
And so now the prosecution is looking for a case. I'm told cases like this are really hard to find. And if the judge can't find any, there's something called selective prosecution, which the defense could argue, and it's going to reduce the sentence. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right.
Okay, we're going to move on.
So
If you could do anything over that you feel you
yeah, we're gonna get into that. So So yeah, man. So yeah, Diddy was basically programming, like you said, sentencing or whatever set for October the 1st. Because, and like a lot of people saying, like, damn, that's a long way off. But there's something called, in the state, at least in New York, it's called a PSI. Or in the Fed, I've heard it be referred to as a PSR. So that's pre-sentencing investigation or pre-sentencing report. But it's basically the same thing. Dived into your background, your history, education, so on and so forth. To me, it sounds like they're sizing you up or whatever, and they're trying to do like a criminal analysis and try to figure out, traits for criminality or certain, things like that. That's just the way it seems. A lot of questions. It seems more like an anthropology experiment than anything else. Because y'all gotta know all this shit about me or whatever when y'all just try to take me, or took me to trial and shit. But then after that, while that's going on, the lawyers are trying to find the case or whatever and shit. What's interesting about it is, being that they're looking, however this case goes, more than likely, this is going to be the case that sets the precedent. This is going to be the case that they look at and say, if a dude is a trick and he's bringing, he's flying coochie in or eggplant in, this is what we can charge him with because this is what Diddy got. And that's pretty much it. So shout out to Diddy, man. You done found your way in the case law now.